Alli, how do busy women find the balance in life through all the challenges like family, career, hormonal changes, relationship changes?
That's a lot, Shawna. And thank goodness we have a wise guest today, Miss Cindy Gibson. Happy 70th birthday to Cindy. And she is going to share what she has learned through doing all the things. And she's a 48 plus year educator. She's a musician. She is a consistent exerciser and a mom and a grandmom. And I could go on and on, but let's just dive in and let her tell us her story.
Before we dive in, let's give a shout out to Shannon Floyd. Thanks for listening. Now let's dive in.
Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Alli Kerr.
And I'm Shawna Kaminski. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
Happy 70th birthday, Cindy. How does it feel to be hitting this milestone, and what does 70 mean to you personally?
Well, it probably is my mother's 70, but you would have to know my mother. It's not my grandmother's 70. So, no, I don't know where the years went. It's been something new all the time, and so I guess that's how I've gotten to this age and haven't done everything I feel like I need to do.
So tell us the difference between your grandmother's 70 and your mother's 70 and your 70. What are the differences?
At my grandmother's 70, it was like everybody's retired, so everybody goes to the rocker on the porch and waters the plants and keeps the grandbabies, and that's a life well lived, which truly it is. But by the time my mother was 70, it was like she's been through so many transitions. Like if my mother, by the ripe old age of 55, had outlived 2 husbands and her 2 firstborn children. So she knew about transitions, and she wasn't going to die until she died. So that's kind of the legacy that she set. She was learning, traveling, doing. And so that's the life that I want.
Wow, learning, traveling, and doing. And you, before we started the show here, you said that you're now living the life you were meant to live, but you had a 48-year hiatus. So Cindy, tell us about what is the life that you're now living that you were always meant to live?
I play piano whenever I want to, all that I want to. And now I have to because I'm getting ready to go to Italy to a 2-week music festival. And so I have sort of lived the life. I did serve a church, was a music director for 27 years. And I started out teaching music in public school. And then the hiatus was to administration and special ed. It's all been wonderful, but I was really meant to minister through music. So now I have the money to do what I was born to do.
And you have the time, and you have the health. You have the health to do the things that you want to do.
Yes.
Yes. And so that's, I know, one of the things that we want to talk about today. And I know Cindy well because Cindy has actually been a client of mine for going over 15 years now. Cindy has been training very consistently. You have been probably, I could easily say the most consistent client I've ever seen, Cindy. I mean, I'm just going to put that. I'm just going to go ahead and award you with that title because you've been consistent with showing up each week, and then you've also been consistent with showing up each month and each year and each decade and then beyond. So you definitely earned that award. And a lot of folks look at you when they come in to our facility and they're working out beside you and they're thinking and they're making comments about how in the world are you able to do all these amazing fitness things that you can do and look amazing. And then they hear your age and they're shocked. And then they start asking you, like, what kind of secrets you have and what kind of magic pills you have. So, what do you have to say to that? Those folks that are looking at you thinking you have a secret or a magic pill.
There's not one. No, everything is totally natural, and showing up is the main thing, and the consistency. And of course, menopause is like a huge transition where many of us have been the least important person in our homes. And when you get to menopause, you have to self-actualize and realize I can't fill somebody else's cup if mine is empty. So that drives a search for what you really want to spend your time on. And so that's sort of what happened.
I really like how you position that, because that, I feel like, puts a positive spin on menopause, because we really demonize menopause in so many ways, but it is a transition that asks us to do a little searching, because it seems that, the current situation probably is less satisfying because women are so giving in so many ways, taking care of so many other people, but not ourselves. So thank you for saying that. I think that is such an important point, that it's okay, not only okay, but the right thing to do. And maybe women take a little bit longer to do that because we're taking care of so many other people.
Exactly. It actually, menopause brings a new energy and a new focus. And it's not that we want it to be where we get a little lost in the shuffle when we're working and raising families and have so many other people to wrap our arms around, but it just is a natural pathway of life. And then when menopause comes, there's new energy, almost like when you got out of college and you're thinking, okay, I got my degree. Now, what do I do with it? So it's that kind of thing that's recreating, and then you kind of seek out others and you realize that's how they look at this also. So it makes a community.
Yeah, I really love the positive spin you've put on it in that regard. With having said that, that's the positive aspect of it. There is some searching and feeling lost in the process. Did you suffer physically from menopause? Did you have terrible symptoms as you transitioned?
My terrible symptom was in menopause, the true menopause that's meant to be, was weight gain. And I actually bought into it. And when you go to these male doctors, they'll say, well, it's normal and it happens and you've had 3 children. And you just have to focus on burning more energy and eating less. Well, actually, it's not. That's so you have to find somebody who understands what it really, really is. But there for a while, I had actually, I am heavier now than I was when I was in college, or when I got married, I weighed 109 and thought I was fat. So I am heavier now, but if I had not rewired my brain to say about the myth that you're just going to gain weight with menopause and there's nothing you can do about it, and everybody's different, if I had truly continued that path, I would likely be obese.
Interesting. Yeah. So you're feeling good. You feel you're at a healthy weight. You love and accept yourself, even though you're not 109 pounds, which is not a realistic or probably even healthy weight.
No, I was probably I mean, that was cute for when you're not married or you're a newlywed, but it's not practical.
Well, and I'm sure you were healthy at that point, but
I was.
our bodies, like we're living in a different body 50 years later.
And that is the teaching of understand your body. And of course, I had to learn that lesson about comparing. What's going on with somebody else has nothing to do with me, and it's not going to help me to think I've got to be somebody else. There's a little poem that went around years ago. Well, if you're going to be somebody else, who's going to be you? You're very special. So that's what you have to come around to, is your body is yours, and you need to take care of your body.
We're going to interrupt this interview for just a second because we've got something we want to make sure that you know. If you're struggling with your health, with your fitness, if you don't know where to start or you know what to do and you're not doing it, we're here for you. And all you need to do to get our help is to reach out to Shawna and I at our email, sapodcast23@gmail.com. And we're happy to help and we will be in touch. Now back to the show.
What is your why, Cindy, that you've been so consistent for over 15 years now is when you're training? And I know you've worked out outside of that earlier years. So what is the why behind you being so consistent week after week, year after year with your health and fitness?
Well, along with menopause, the old myth was after 40, little things will start going wrong with your body. So that was my mother's generation. Well, I didn't want that. I want to be independent and I know anything can happen to any of us, but I want to be independent. And then if there comes a time that I'm not, I don't want to be a burden by my own actions. And I know
that's inactions. Actions or inactions.
That's my why, is I want to be healthy. And of course, when you exercise, it becomes a sort of a social event because you see others improving and feeling good about themselves. And that's important too. And as you age, and I know it's not the topic we're talking about today, but socializing and having a community of friends is important lifelong. But sometimes as we age, we tend to isolate a little bit. And that is not good for the brain and not good for the body. So I find that exercising in a studio where you've got other people as well, you become friends and you look forward to coming and working out and just knowing what's going on with others.
Yeah, I think that's as important as the physical exercise, the community, the emotional connection. And when you don't feel like working out, you're still going because you want to check in on the community. So that is a powerful motivator. So yeah, we are Girls Talk Healthy Aging. It's not all just about push-ups and burpees and all that kind of stuff. That social aspect is equally as important. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
And we all, my group, the 615 group, we all get that you don't always feel like wake up and I got to go. I'm going to go exercise. It might be raining or you stayed up too late the night before. But once you get there and you just get going, you're just so glad that you just took the steps. It's on your calendar. Now let's do it. And and that keeps me going too.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a breast cancer experience. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm a rule follower, so I thought I had always taken care of myself, and I had never I've had an antibiotic in my whole life, just so few times, but I did not take any drugs for menopause, even with a doctor saying, "Oh, you don't have to do this alone. You can be comfortable." And no, I just do all natural things. So I followed all the rules, and I thought I was eating well, and then I had breast cancer. Well, actually, breast cancer isn't all about what we do by our own choices. So of course I had to learn that and have a little grace to it rather than I should have done this or that. But yeah, so as it turned out, what I had is very common. In fact, they even called it the old lady kind, as if that was going to comfort me. And that was their way of saying, it's got to be treated, but this is not a death sentence at this time. So anyway, it was a low grade and very small and found very early. So, but still, I've read, and doctors say too, it doesn't matter whether somebody's got a cancer that needs treatment, but it's once they treat it, it's gone, or whether somebody's got a cancer they're going to be treated for the rest of their lives. The reaction, the initial reaction to the C word is about the same. So, so I had to deal with that. And then again, that was the same kind of community. You find people, and it's not like you go looking for them. They end up in your pathway. And you realize how common it is and what you do for it, and you move on with your life. And my doctor, of course, I couldn't hear it when they were telling it to me, but they said from the beginning, this is a bump in the road. It's going to the rear view mirror. But that's hard to hear when you first get that little word.
But, I can imagine. Yeah.
But exactly. I missed one day of exercise.
I was just going to say.
The day I had surgery. And my husband said surgery was 45 minutes. So that I just missed that one day.
Yep, I can attest to that. It's just always been amazing to me. And anytime people tell me, "Oh, I can't make it because of something," I'm thinking, Cindy wouldn't do that. I'm like, Cindy gets here no matter what, rain, shine, hailstorm. No, just yes, you missed it.
Alli was really bragging you up that breast cancer, and that was the only day that you've missed. So why was that? Why? What kept you getting in through the door?
Well, I really didn't feel bad. I mean, it was the emotional and the fear of what if they're wrong and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I really, I didn't feel bad. And coming to exercise actually addressed the anxiety and fears related. And of course, there have been other people through the pink who have had breast cancer as well. So we're kind of a sub-community in there. But I responded well to treatment, and of course, anything can happen to anybody. But for me, that is down at the low list. And of course, I'm 8 years older now. So, but it does teach you a lot of lessons about focus on what you can control and coping with anxiety. Like one of my strategies is allow 15 minutes a day for fear to creep in. And and we can control our thoughts. If you have a thought that shouldn't come anytime but those 15 minutes, you make it go away. You replace it with another thought. Make it go away. It can come back at the right 15 minutes. And so that's what got me through. And it is a lesson. You can think positive or you can wallow in worry. And it is normal to wallow in worry. So, I would never say to somebody, "Oh, you're wallowing." But if you hang around the right people, they'll steer you to whatever this is, let's make it fun.
Well, I think it's important that you give yourself time to recognize you're allowed to be sad or worried or stressed, but you put bumpers on that time. So it's not happening at 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. You're like, I'm allowed to worry. I've got it scheduled. This is when I'm going to be, this is my worry time. And then whenever those intrusive thoughts come in, I'm going to replace it with another thought. So you've made a plan for it. So there's no doubt that your positive attitude helped you get through the challenging time of breast cancer and all the challenges that you faced in your 70 years.
And in fact, since you brought that up, when I am a reader, but when I was going through that, I did focus on how do you deal with things that happen that you didn't plan for. And I reread that old book, Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking, and all these teachings that we're still teaching in therapies about replacing your thoughts, prioritizing sleep, feel what you feel like. If you don't feel like going on the family outing, then say I don't feel like it today. It's all those things that are in that old book as well. So when this happened, I did focus on reading the right literature as well.
And Cindy, you're a teacher, an educator, and you can see it coming through right now because you're teaching us so many things, so many good lessons. And you started fitness with me a little over 15 years ago, but I know that fitness and movement has been part of your life even before that. You had periods where you were active. So what are some things that you would teaching the younger generations that are coming behind us, lessons that you've learned, foundations that you set that have helped you, because we never know what life is going to throw at us. Hopefully it doesn't throw the C word at us, but what are some of those foundations that you want to teach or pass along to those younger gals out there listening?
I definitely would say I was a late bloomer. As a child, I was a reader, and of course, I practiced piano and clarinet a lot, and so I sat a lot. And I really wasn't into exercise because I wasn't athletic. But then when I graduated college, I took up jogging. And so after I went to work, I would go jog. And so that's when it happened, because I really realized that was my stress relief. The day is done. I've done all I can do today. Now it's me time. Well, so that might be why I weighed 109. And then when I got married and had children, and when I was teaching, I was on my feet and active. But when I became an administrator, I was still very active, but a lot of meetings and sitting and listening and taking on other people's stress. And that brought on the weight gain. And so I was less active. But I did keep walking. I did aerobics from time to time. So what would I say to the younger set is, no matter what happens, find something you like and do it. And of course, I've learned at the Pink, you eat every day. You'd never think of not eating. Well, you need to exercise every day as well. And we spend a lot more time eating than we do exercising, actually. Now, that's my add-on to it.
Very true. Very true. And that's something I haven't even thought about until you just pointed that out. But that's actually very good point, Cindy. We do spend more time. And that reminds me of some of the questions that some of our ladies ask you when they see you working out, and then when they hear your age, and then they go to questions like, Cindy, do you just not eat dinner? What is your skin regimen? Do you do red light therapy and sauna? Some of all these questions of how do you look and feel and present in this fit fabulousness of Cindy. And so how do you and you may be able to think of some more questions like that you've gotten from people along the way.
Well, of course, thank you for that. And I'm always honored when they tell me I'm a rock star, or or they notice that I've improved with something that's a goal. And definitely honored when they ask about, well, what are you doing about your skin? So, and I'm natural. I used to do things like olive oil on my skin. And once I learned about sunscreens, of course, I got serious about it. But when I was a little girl, we played outside. Mama threw all four of us outside. And we didn't know about sunscreen. So I can't really help that. But once I learned some things that are science based, I started doing them. But basically, I'm just honored that people notice that my effort is paying off, and it becomes a way of life. And but I'm pretty natural about it. I mean, they ask me what I eat, and I eat 3 meals. Do I ever eat something that I know is too high in carbs? Yes, I do, because my family doesn't actually have my lifestyle. And my husband is the cook, and he doesn't have to watch his weight. So, but protein, I do focus on the protein. And like most lunch is some peanut butter and a banana. So there are things like that. And I do watch my weight.
I think the thing that when people ask you what your secret is that a lot of people are just looking for some kind of magic bullet. But your magic bullet is years and years of healthy habits and consistency.
And not perfection with food or any, but doing it consistently.
Yeah.
Just keep showing up. I know along the way, it's all about what can somebody learn from what we do. And it's just keep showing up. And it will happen. I mean, whatever you need and whatever you're looking for will happen if you'll keep showing up.
What are some of the misconceptions you think people have about aging and staying fit? Anything come to mind?
Yes, because I had them. But I see them as well. And of course, I have lots of friends and I could never do that. You really do stick with that, but I could never do that. Well, and that is just like some more of those myths that float around, because actually it's mathematical. Start somewhere and put one foot in front of the other, and you will get wherever your goal is. And I really, the secret is getting started. And how, if I may, I'll tell you how I arrived at the pink physique. My daughter had a baby, and she wanted to lose her baby fat. So we decided, and I had menopausal fat. So we decided we would go to Weight Watchers. And I was doing the Weight Watchers, and in my younger years, it had worked for me. Well, there was a wonderful counselor. When you weigh in and you talk about your week, I had been going for 3 months, and I had lost 3 pounds in 3 months. And this counselor said, you are going to have to do something to jumpstart your metabolism. So, and it wasn't even planned, but my daughter found out that Alli was opening in a new setting, and you could pick one class, any activity to come in and get to know. And so my daughter picked kickboxing, and it was so much fun. I did not realize I was pulling everything in my hips, and it was going to hurt for a week. But it did the trick, and I learned from that, just walk. I had to walk to get the pain and get myself back under control. So, but that was the ticket, because I saw all the things that were going on in there, and that I could go at 5:30 in the morning. And so that's how it got started. But I do praise that wonderful counselor who got it across that weight loss is not just what you eat.
Very true. And it's interesting that you said getting started is one of the most important things, because we had an 80-year-old client on, Sharon Rutherford, and that was her big thing as well. She's just turning 80 in July, and her comment was very similar in that it's getting started is the hardest thing, and after that first step, you realize, might not be quite as bad as you think, and might be even fun. And thank goodness that you found Alli, because I know that you're having lots of fun there. And I think that is the key, is maybe kickboxing wasn't for you, but it opened your eyes to what is available so that you could try some other things.
And I knew I wanted to do the personal training, that I really needed my upper body strength. And I would do kickboxing now, but what happened that day, it just felt so good. It was so much fun, and the music was blaring, and I just didn't realize when you haven't been doing it, you don't want to overdo. So
you were in the moment. That's what people do. They go all in that first time, and they're just excited, and it's like, oh, now I can't walk for a week. I can't move my body. So yeah. And Cindy, one of the things that I admire about you, and that I would love for people to get from this, is just the mindset that you have and that you've trained. It's not like, I don't know that you were, maybe you were just naturally have this mindset, but even in this conversation, you've talked about, even with the fear, like you set aside time, you read books on mindset to help you build those things, those skills. And getting started starts with the mind. The mind has to get you to the door, then your legs follow, and continuing and being consistent like Cindy is also comes from the mind. Those mornings that it's raining and you don't feel like getting up and getting out of the bed, those are the strength of your mind. And just helping gals understand, us all realize how powerful our minds are, and yet how much control and power we have to control that mindset. And so I'm hoping people can see and hear that through what you're saying, because I see that in knowing you for the last 15 plus years. Your mindset is what is I'm super impressed with your fitness and your, and just how great of a person and an educator you are. I'm also really impressed and want that to rub off on all of us, the strength of your mind and how much the work you've done on it. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Looking ahead, Cindy, what are your goals in the next decade?
Well, I am going to Italy at the end of the month. And I also teach piano in the school year. Well, I'm going to have a young student who is visually impaired and is 6 years old. So my goal, what this student that I've just met, what that has inspired is I would love to get Suzuki certified in piano instruction. And that is probably a year to 18 month endeavor, at least. And then, of course, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to spend time and enjoy every minute I can with my grandchildren. And that's the very top of the mark. I will say that. And we're forever have goals for our house, and that we hope to hand down eventually. And but back to the work related though, and the ministry of my life is right now I'm doing preschool, special ed, early intervention. And of course, not all behavior in preschool is special ed at all. But that's the job title that goes. But we do have high population of autism. and autism rates are rising. So another goal that I have that is a huge need that anybody looking for a vocation of purpose is to be a RBT, registered behavior therapist, because children with autism frequently need a one-on-one that understands their signals and their triggers to help them to function in a group, but also to help them to regulate themselves. So, and that also is a training process that is some of the training is even online, but then additional training is supervised by a behavior therapist. So you ask about goals, and I do have them. Now, as I work along, will I really see that I need that? Because my supervisor, for example, would say I don't need RBT training because I already do what they do. And so, but it's rolling around up here. I mean, I have to have goals. I have to have, and I do lists. I live my life on a T-chart, and I do lists, and I check things off when I've got them done, and I make notes as I'm working toward that goal. And so we'll just see what lies ahead. But those are my goals. I'm living the life I was meant to live.
I know that I know that, Cindy, you could be completely retired and just sitting at home drinking that coffee or whatever, but you're choosing to continue to work and have these goals and these ambitions, and I hear the passion in your voice. Tell us why you're not sitting by your pretty new pool drinking coffee and you're still out working at age 70.
Well, it's a total passion, and but I've scaled back so that I can have my time at home and my pool time and my friends' time. But doing what I'm doing now, I'm meeting people, I'm helping families, I'm helping children, and that just means a lot to me. And I know that I will know when it's time for me not to be employed at all.
Do you think that is the real secret of retirement, is just following your passion? Because I feel that those people that just retire and then just go sit down, their health declines, their mental health declines, but you are more alive than ever. I think this is a successful retirement.
Absolutely.
It's like my mother said, if she'd known she was going to live so long, she wouldn't have retired so young. And other people have said that as well. And my soapbox, that when I had a staff, one thing I taught them is, if you are wondering whether it's time for you to retire, then it's not. Because when it is, you will not wonder. And don't retire because your best friend is, or your husband is, or because you're a certain age, or because another staff person or a student just absolutely took it all out of you. You roll with those things. But just listen to yourself, and you will know when it's time for you to know.
Well, and you are reinventing yourself. So you may have retired from one career, but you are taking on this music challenge and learning new skills. And so I think that is a huge message too, that retirement doesn't mean the end. It could be the beginning.
Exactly. I would always love to have gone to Italy and play piano and spend your days playing piano, getting ready to go. But I couldn't do that. I had to raise my children. And now I've come to a time that I can. And so we just had to ask ourselves, if not now, then when?
Absolutely. If you had a wish for our listeners, Cindy, what would it be?
We've covered really what is sacred to me about personal growth, and that is find something you like and just get started. And don't compare yourself. Be consistent and listen to your body and yourself. What somebody else is doing has got nothing to do with you. And that would be my message. You've got to take care of yourself. And we're taught that our society definitely teaches young women that self-care is selfish, and it is not. And scientifically, it is essential that you take care of yourself so that then you can take care of others as well.
Alli?
And my wish would be that we do like Cindy and do put some more time and energy and work into working on building our mindset, a powerful, strong mindset, and just maybe putting that little 15 minutes aside if we need to go to the negative or to the fear or those things, but work on building a strong, positive mindset.
And my wish would be, again, to be like Cindy, a lifelong learner. I can tell you're an educator because you keep coming back to what I've learned. And I think that's a powerful lesson, is that we can continue to learn and to continue to look for opportunities to expand, whether it's in fitness, whether it's your mind, whether it's in your service within your community.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Alli, on Instagram at Alli Kerr Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shawna, on Instagram at Shawna Kaminski. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback. If you're enjoying the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, please subscribe and share it with other health-minded women. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated and help us get our message out to a larger audience.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.